Welcome. Greetings from New England. Not old England. From the New England. If we could only settle a newer land, call it New England, where we give everyone free healthcare with the taxes they pay. Anyways, greetings. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I want to do a brief news commentary, newsmentary, as it's been known to be called here on the channel. This newsmentary is we are officially run by the stupidest people. This country is just the dumbest people are in charge. The dumbest. Reading news last night and this morning, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. This can't be real. I know it is, but because I went to the CDC's website. The CDC, the Center for Disease Controls, you've probably seen the CDC in famous Hollywood movies where it's usually the launching point of some kind of alert to a zombie attack. I'm pretty sure in all the zombie movies they reference Atlanta and the CDC at some point, or they're trying to get to Atlanta. Isn't The Walking Dead about trying to get to the CDC? I don't know. But I just know that I've seen the CDC Atlanta Center on like zombie end of the world plague-like movies. And it turns out they haven't updated their stuff since March. And apparently it's because of all the layoffs. Layoffs? That's an old soundbite that we used to play on radio that was actually meant to say playoffs. And I turned it into layoffs. It's pretty clever, Rob. Thank you, Rob. Anyways, the CDC apparently has had such bad layoffs that happened in March 28th that they're no longer updating people on whether, to be on the lookout for diseases in your area, which I feel like I'd be hard pressed to find anyone in America that would be like anti-information on diseases. Viruses. Sammers, Hilo. Or are you saying Hilo? Like the great city in Hawaii. The big small town on the big island. Good boy. A, B, C. You sub Turbo Gaming too. What do you do for gaming? I do news commentary. I call it newsmentary. But what do you game, Turbo? Turbo. I had a nickname for you. It's going to be Laser. So I come 5 days a week. Well, that sounded weird. I present some news every weekday. And with that news, you little chicken jockeys, I do some commentary. And today we're talking about the Centers for Disease and Control. That is a big thing. Because they keep an eye out. They're like the central hub for the network of all the outbreaks happening throughout the world, and they can push out alerts. You can sign up for alerts, and they'll push out alerts saying like, "Hey, be careful in your area. There's like a new tick disease that when the tick bites you, you get allergic to meat," which really happened. There's a tick in Texas, and I believe along the southern coast of the East Coast, where if this tick bites you, you become allergic to red meat. Amir, I don't know if you're just trying to troll, or if you're just, I don't know. Do you have nothing to do? Would you skip school today? Jesus. Come on, people. I'm trying to talk about the CDC. Let's get serious. Why so serious? But yeah, apparently, and I linked the news down below. If you're new here, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I always try to link what I talk about, what I plan to talk about down below. And the CDC has had so many layoffs that they have nobody updating their system to get alerts. So we don't know. And here's the thing. When you think about the knuckleheads in charge, the dummies in charge, their thought process is like, well, if it ain't affecting us, we got the best doctors in the world to access the elites. So they don't care, and for them, they're like, well, if there's no news about a pandemic, is there another pandemic? if nobody can communicate, if nobody can tell you that, hey, be careful in your area, there's a new outbreak, like down in Texas, there's a huge measles outbreak. Kids are dying. And then RFK Jr. told them to just take some vitamin A. And then these kids with measles were overdosing on vitamin A. The parents behind this are morons. I'd like to say, Darwin at its finest, natural selection, that whole but you feel bad for the kids because honestly, the kids are just victims to the stupidity of parents sometimes, and you just want to, I don't know, talk to these parents and say, my God, please, for the sake of your children. Then the other thing is, I was reading that RFK, I love how, and one of the family members, one of the coalition, the community here, Gma, was commenting, oh, they passed the TIPS, No Tax on Tips Act. And I could talk about that later, but that, like this, like RFK saying he wants to make school lunches healthy again, it's like flicking, not even throwing, it's like flicking a peanut at a malnourished child about to die from starvation. It's like, it makes no sense. It's so dumb. It's like, well, I'm not even going to say, oh, great, because it's like, what is happening right now? It offsets no tax on tips. It offsets wanting to make school lunches healthy. Because if, number one, if kids can go into debt for school lunch, who gives a shit if it's healthy? Because guess what? Healthier food costs more in America. But number two, and this is what the article down below said, hi, my videos are bad. I like your name. That's a good YouTube handle right there. I should have taken that one, but apparently it's taken. But RFK announcing he wants to make American school lunches healthy for kids, it makes no sense, because if you know anything about Donald Trump and Doge, they've cut all the funding and all the people that could implement stuff like that. So it's just a make-believe statement that's set into the air and disappears because there's no more infrastructure, there's no more people, and there's no more money to make that stuff happen. So it's just funny. Just remember that when you hear some vapid, empty promise from these dummies in charge, and that's what they are. They're dummies, folks. Because for RFK to announce he wants to make kids' school lunches healthier without saying, like, I know we gutted the system and we're not giving federal funding to schools anymore, and we basically decimated everything. What is he going to do? Do it himself? What is he going to go hunt bear and make bear stew for all the kids and bring it there personally? Like, that's why we have a big federal government, because we got 50 states, a couple of colonies. We should just let them fucking go. Let them go be their independent things. The land of the free has to have control over everything. But it is just amazing that people can hear this stuff and still think, oh, there's a good thing. It's like, no, folks. If RFK is saying he wants to make school lunches healthy, just understand there's no money for it. It's not going to happen. He's just trying to glaze you, like the kids say. The most effed up part about kids going into debt for school lunch is school cafeterias turn a profit. Well, here in Massachusetts, Orpheus, thank you for returning. Good to see you again. Here in Massachusetts, we put a millionaire's tax. We put like a 2% tax on people that make over like 3 million, I think. Something like basic like that. Which, it's horrific to think that we could get a $1,000 a month universal basic income for every adult in this country for a 1.75 tax, wealth tax on people who make 50 million and above. 1.75. That's the small increment of tax that could give everybody universal basic income for $1,000 a month, 12 grand a year on a 1.75 tax. But what's crazy is here in Massachusetts, we did a 2% tax on people that make over, I think it's like 3 million. A 2% wealth tax, and every kid in this state gets free lunch. There is no more debt, no more paying. Any kid that goes through school in Massachusetts gets free lunch. It is very implementable. It's just somehow billionaires, because that's who funded the anti-wealth tax, and I looked into it and I pushed hard for this tax. But it was just funded by billionaires who have, like, multiple homes here, they probably don't even live here the whole year, but they just don't want to give up any of their money. They're gluttons of greed. They're sadists for their money. They'll hurt anyone and anything. They don't care if kids have to go into debt for food. They just want their money, and they have plenty of it. But the real problem is those people have tricked other workers, other people who go to work for a living, just trying to get by, worry about the price of eggs, stuff like that, where they don't even know the price of eggs. They're like, eggs, I'll buy a farm. What could it cost, Michael? $30 an egg? So this is the craziest part. It's like they've convinced, just like Donald Trump and RFK, they've convinced that like putting a no tax on tips is like a good thing for America. It's like, you assholes, the people who work for tips are making subpar wages. How about they just raise the federal minimum wage to $25 an hour? Do that, and then I'll be like, oh, good. Now we can at least combat the tariff war that you started, all the tariffs we're going to have to pay. The no tax on tips, it does not matter, because if you're making tips, you're either making between $2 and $6 an hour. So your life depends on those tips. And not taxing them is like, what? Now they might not have to work 4 jobs to pay for rent? It's so dumb. And it's just like RFK saying he wants to make school lunches healthy again. It's like, guys, you decimated the Department of Education. You decimated any infrastructure. You attacked the public school system. And what? What's left? You want to make lettuce in their lunches? Like, say you're going to give every teacher a national raise. Why do teachers have to put up Amazon lists every year for pencils and cops don't have to do it for bullets? You know what I mean? Like, this is some bass-ackwards stuff. And somehow they've got people fighting in the comments about Trump, MAGA, Joe Biden, come on. It's like, guys, none of that matters. The war is these wealthy people keep saying you guys are going to cover the costs. What's up, Partha? I could tell this guy's never worked in the service industry. I work in the service. Listen, too evil to hope. If you don't understand what I'm saying, you're missing the point. You focused on small peanuts. If you're like, oh, the no tax on tips is going to change my life. It's like, no, you know what's going to change your life? We stop having tips in America. We stop doing a tipped wage. That's what's going to change your life. Just raise the wage. Europe doesn't do, I can't explain this. But what I'm trying to point out is the hypocrisy of saying like, oh, we gave you 145% tariff on things from China, which is everything you buy. But we won't tax your tips now. You know, that will equate. What I'm saying is like, in the scheme of things, it's nothing. It's nothing. It is absolutely D, and it's all a joke. But the bigger concern that I want to bring to people's attention is hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and the CDC is no longer pushing out alerts. That should be terrifying for everyone, because that's good for the country. You know, if your neighbor's sick, guess what? If you put a sick person in a room of healthy people, that sick person doesn't get healthier. Everybody else gets sick. So we should all really be concerned that the CDC hasn't put an update out since March. Link in the description. My brother's been a server his entire life, okay? And I've always pushed for a higher wage. Look into why there's a tipped wage. It comes from the Jim Crow era South, slavery. They don't want to pay black folks. Just look into the history. I implore you to. This is why we need a good education system. Because once you understand the history, you go, yeah, that's effed. Businesses shouldn't operate on having the customers have to tip us if they're in the mood to survive. Businesses that are making billions, sometimes trillions of dollars, they should just pay us. They're making enough money. Go on their earnings calls. That's what I do. I mean, your argument is so mute, but I'll entertain it for a minute, because I'd like you to, I'd encourage you. That's what I do here. Have some discussion. Encourage you to just get educated. Just understand a little bit. A little bit. We shouldn't have to worry about the kindness of customers to pay us. The company we work for should. All right, guys, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'll go live a little bit later. Salute, respect to you. Too evil to hope, but keep that hope, okay? Don't be too evil to hope.